The day the cell door opened without an alarm, I knew something had gone terribly wrong. For 3 years, the door had only opened twice a day, once for food, once for inspection, and always with the same hiss of pressure seals and the same cold voice giving orders in a language that once made my stomach knot with fear. But this time, there was silence. No guards. No weapons humming. Just the door sliding aside as if the station itself had decided to let me go. I didn't move. Hope was dangerous in captivity. I'd learned that early. Hope got people killed. But my heart still started to pound, and that was when I sensed her standing there, just beyond the threshold. Velith. My prison guard. She didn't carry her shock staff. Her armor was gone, replaced by a simple grey uniform. Her 4 amber eyes were wide, not cold and assessing like before, but afraid. "You can't leave," she said. The words froze me in place. For 3 years, I had dreamed of escape. Counted seconds. Scratched days into the wall with a stolen shard of metal. And now, when freedom stood right in front of me, the one being who had kept me locked away was begging me to stay. That was the moment I realized the galaxy had shifted around me and I was standing at the center of it. But that was only the beginning. I had been captured during the Outer Rim skirmishes, when Earth's coalition forces stumbled into a conflict we barely understood. The Ketheri Union didn't take prisoners out of mercy. They took us for study. For leverage. For experiments that never made it into the reports. Velith had been assigned to my cell on the first day. Tall, insectoid humanoid, her chitinous crest marked with the insignia of a senior warden. She never spoke unless protocol demanded it. Never reacted when I shouted. Never flinched when I threatened. For a long time, I hated her more than the cage. But time does strange things to enemies trapped together. She was there when the screams echoed down the corridor at night. She was there when the lights flickered during system failures and I thought the station was falling into the star below. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, she began to linger. Sometimes she asked questions. About Earth. About why humans sang when they were afraid. About why I still stood at attention when she entered, even after everything. Defiance ritual, she asked once. No, I said. Habit. She considered that for a long moment. Then she nodded, as if storing the answer away. None of us were prepared for what came next. The first turning point came 2 years into my captivity, when the experiments escalated. The Ketheri scientists wanted to know why humans resisted neural domination better than most species. They strapped me into machines that clawed at my thoughts, tried to overwrite instinct itself. Velith was ordered to stand watch. She didn't look at me as they activated the device. But I saw her claws dig into her palms hard enough to draw sap. When it was over, when they dragged my unconscious body back to the cell, she stayed behind. That had never happened before. You should not have survived, she said quietly. Neither should you, I whispered back, barely conscious. Her eyes flickered. Confusion. Guilt. From that day on, she broke small rules. Left the light on longer. Smuggled nutrient packs when I was too weak to stand. Once, when I collapsed, she caught me before I hit the floor. I am not authorized to care, she said, almost to herself. But you did, I replied. And that changed everything. The major rehook came when the station went on lockdown. Alarms screamed. Gravity fluctuated. Through the reinforced viewport, I saw Kethri warships burning in space, picked apart by weapons I didn't recognize. A rescue fleet. Human. I laughed. I cried. I pounded on the door until my hands bled. Velith stared at the chaos on the monitor, her breathing rapid. If they take you, she said, they will destroy this station. So, I snapped. Let it burn. She turned to me then, truly turned, and I saw fear in her eyes, not for herself, but for what would come after. The Union will execute me, she said. For treason. For contamination. For caring. That was the moment I understood the truth she had been hiding from herself. She wasn't my jailer anymore. She was my accomplice. The rescue team breached the outer ring within hours. I could hear gunfire drawing closer, human voices shouting commands I hadn't heard in years. My chest felt like it would burst. Velith opened the door fully and stepped aside. You are free, she said. I took one step toward the corridor. Toward home. Then she grabbed my arm. Her grip was shaking. If you leave, she said, voice breaking, everything I did was meaningless. I looked back at the cell. The scratches on the wall. The place that had broken me and rebuilt me into something harder. You kept me alive, I said softly. That wasn't meaningless. But I chose you, she whispered. Over my people. Over my laws. Outside, explosions rocked the station. Time was running out. This was the moral dilemma no training could prepare me for. If I left, I would be free, but she would die. If I stayed, I might never see Earth again. Human logic screamed one answer. Human emotion whispered another. I made my choice. When the rescue team reached my level, they found the cell empty. Velith and I fled through maintenance shafts as the station tore itself apart. She guided us to an escape pod meant for high-ranking officials, hers, once. The pod launched just as the station vanished in a fireball behind us. In the quiet that followed, she sank to the floor, trembling. Why? She asked again. Why stay? I met her gaze. Because captivity taught me something, I said. Freedom means choosing who you stand with. Months later, on a fringe world far from both Earth and the Kethri Union, we built something new. Not a prison. Not a command post. A refuge. Sometimes she still wakes in fear, certain someone will come to take me away. I always tell her the same thing. You opened the door, I say. The rest was my choice. And as we watch the stars together, I realize the truth I never expected to learn in a cage. That the one who once refused to let me leave became the reason I stayed.